gentlemen, it's time for Big Will Spotlight. We're going to discuss movies the Oscars don't care about. We're going to discuss movies that you care about. So go ahead, get yourself something to eat. Get yourself something to drink. Sit back and relax with your popcorn and your date as we go to Big Will Spotlight with your hosts, Big Will, Dr. Quack, and the important one, Mr. Mayhem.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Big Will Spotlight. I'm your host, Big Will.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem. But we got someone else that's getting ready to join us here today. So let's welcome him on to the show. This time he's a little different person, but we all still know him. JP.
We'll try this. I'm out, out and about. My kids are playing, so.
It's okay. So
Can you hear me good?
Yes, we hear you just fine.
Yeah, we hear you just fine.
The original plan was to discuss the movie Idiocracy. However, almost everybody didn't do their research. They haven't watched it.
That's one of the hardest. I don't know if you guys have ever found that on DVD or not. I find it to be one of the hardest movies for me to find on DVD was Idiocracy. The only time I've ever seen it was on like Comedy Central.
It's on Stars right now.
Well, and the funny thing is the movie company won't put it out on DVD, so it's like second and third hand DVD copies is what you can get.
I got a lot of money. I got one or two of them. But anyway, we got to start this off. Yes, this is a revisit. When we first started the show, we would just started off doing like 15, 20-minute snippets of just going over a movie real quick, thinking,
Be a pro wrestler.
Well, then we got encouraged to come here on StreamYard and get conversations going, and now we're coming back.
And now we're used to talking for an hour nonstop. So
it's all right.
So yes, we're going to come back and revisit this, and we have to start off. Hey, this is not affiliated with any kind of parties or anything like that. This is not for any kind of
and spoilers.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have spoilers in there too. But
so JP, have you seen the movie?
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I haven't watched the whole movie. Like I said, I've only seen it ever aired on like Comedy Central a few times.
Okay.
So you missed out on a lot of stuff anyway.
I know the general premise of it, and I've seen some of the end. Like it's like the guy, he gets frozen in time, and then he comes back in the future where the average man is the smartest man in the world.
Right.
That's what it boils down to. I mean, yes, the experiment was only supposed to be for a year. And then the guy that was in charge of it got brought up on charges of prostitution ring. And they ended up being frozen for over 500 years.
Yep.
Right. And then what is it like? Everybody's water now is energy drinks, and the only water they have is in toilets, and they don't use it for. That's the only thing they have for toilets. And I think he finds like, he puts it in water, puts a flour in water. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, but it's dumb at the same time. Like I said.
Well, it's very prophetic from the standpoint of if you look at the way the world is going. This movie came out in 2005, so now 17 years later. If you look at the decline of society being more reactionary, less thinking, more people are stuff.
Yes, it ended up boiling down to something along the lines of, oh, this is good for you today. This is the best thing in the entire world today. And then 10 years down the road, all of a sudden they find out there's side effects of it. But it gets denied and, it keeps going downhill and everything like that. There's electrolytes. It's what your body needs. Electrolytes. It's what plants need.
Yeah, what he's talking about there is Brondo is the third mutilator, that's the fourth string. And because Brondo became such a big corporation, they bought the FDA and determined you don't need water, you need Brondo. And then plants need Brondo. And then the electrolytes are salts that are killing the plants.
I mean, it's just it's a great movie. If you haven't watched it, somebody you gotta find it. Like I pointed out, it's on Stars right now. I heard earlier ended up being able to watch it on YouTube for free. I mean, go out, check it out. I mean, it's a prophetic movie. I mean, it's sitting there. The world is just declining because smart people, they don't even have time to have kids. Pretty much is what it kind of boils down to.
Don't.
Old enough to, or by the time they're in a situation, it's the right word, where they could have kids, it's too late.
Yeah, they keep pushing it off and pushing it off and pushing it off.
Whereas, I really don't want to use the word dumb because a lot of people are going to probably line themselves with that part of the storyline anyway.
Well, and if you see society is kind of deteriorating, I mean, we got like TikTok and all those I don't know. Everybody thinks the next generation is hopeless, but it's been like that ever since human civilization. So, I mean, the movie, The Providence, it's there, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can see it. It's not. I think that this movie's a little more hyperbole,
Comedic, yeah.
Truly prophetic, but you can see the cracks in society turning in this direction.
Very much so. I mean, just there's more and more dumb people having dumb kids.
Yeah,
just,
it's not so much. Dumb isn't, like you said, you're right. It's not really the right word. It's the people who don't care about being productive in civilization.
We got to change the word. That's where the problem boils down. It's not dumb. It's not people. It's the sheeple out there that are going to create more sheeple, and it's just a society mentality. There we go.
Well, Demolition Man also.
And even there, they're like, their doctors weren't even there. They're like, oh yeah, stick this here, poke this in.
Yep.
And yeah.
Towards the end, the TV control room. It's not this big fancy thing. It's a one control with 4 red buttons, and it's on a number over the top telling you which TV to turn on.
Which one is broadcasting to the jumbotron?
Right. So it's interesting. So
sorry, I got my kids yelling and screaming.
Not only do we have to warn you that this isn't politically,
politically
affiliated, or we're going to do spoilers. We're also going to have a little bit of cussing in here because, like I pointed out, I mean, throughout the movie, this is probably pretty well censored for Comedy Central. But Fuddruckers ends up becoming, Bud Ruckers, and then end up in the 500-year future being Buttfuckers.
Yeah. Well, who was in this movie? Was it Keanu Reeves or no?
No, it was Luke Wilson, Maya Rudolph.
Not Keanu Reeves, yeah.
Jack Shepard, Terry Crews.
Terry Crews, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in this movie.
So, yeah, and it's... Everything is common denominators. Everything devolves into sex. Like
Xavier, get off of there now. All right, guys, I'm sorry. I gotta go.
It's okay.
It's all good, man.
Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for joining.
All right, thanks. All right, so while we be discussing this stuff here, if you want to come on and join us or leave a comment, we'll discuss some stuff here. But so we're going over Idiocracy here, and it devolves basically down into the lowest common denominator. Like you said, Fuddruckers, because it's got a funny-sounding name, becomes Buttfuckers. Starbucks becomes a gentleman's club where a tall latte means it's a hand job. It's all
stuff
those
like that. And
things.
then, Carl's Jr., is in control of your food. And if you can't afford to buy your food, you're an unfit parent, and they come and take your kids away from you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. and Dr. Quack, the main character, Luke Wilson, his name, because he's so much smarter than everybody else, he's trying to explain, and they think his name is Not Sure. That is the character's name, who's the hero of the story.
Very much.
So,
but it's not that, like I pointed out, this doesn't have to just be about Idiocracy. It's about where we feel like society is kind of heading, because everybody would love to think that we're heading towards like a Star Trek dystopia, that, everything's going to be free and everything like that. And I keep thinking, why would somebody want to be better than somebody else if we got the same exact thing?
Yeah.
Status.
I don't see Star Trek coming up. So we got a question here from Dr. Quack trying to get a conversation going here. So what are our favorite movies ever?
Be quiet. We're talking about something else right now.
It's okay, but yeah, we're talking about, like you said, this movie here is the opposite of the Star Trek. For those of you who are looking at the Star Trek Utopia, where no money, you got everybody competing. We got someone here to come join and talk about whatever. It is definitely not The Purge, but it is Justin Smith.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
So you mentioned you haven't seen the movie, but we're here just talking about movies and how accurate or inaccurate they are with the way society's going. And you come from a European point of view. So what's your take on movies discussing how society is going? Is it getting better or is it getting worse?
I would say 50-50, I gotta be honest with you. I'm more like of the fan from the old movies, like a German classic one, Das Boot, The Boat.
Yeah, Das Boot's a very good movie.
Yes, rest in peace to the producer. Get well in heaven. Or a movie called The Iceland. That's some of my favorite movies there. Okay. If you don't know what The Iceland is gonna be, in this movie you have like two protagonists who are in a Iceland, isolated, and they wanna try to come to the Iceland. Okay. The reason why I made this is pretty simple. In the movie, we get slowly the truth behind the Iceland. Okay. That is pretty simple. That's pretty simple. They're gonna find out they will be exterminated, and the organs are gonna be sold to others. Okay. Like they're gonna be produced and to be killed and get other attentions. Okay. The protagonist, however, gonna be escaping from the Iceland, and there is all over a hunt and a pretty damn good movie.
Sounds like it. But for those of you who are not familiar with Das Boot, it's about a German sub during World War II. And it was a very in-depth, involved movie and it's based upon a true story. So if you're interested in World War II movies and naval battles, check out Das Boot. That's definitely a good movie. And there is an American version as well, also called Das Boot.
But yes, the one trying to interrupt you, I was just going to start bringing up that there are so many futuristic movies that this was just the one. We're revisiting it because it was requested from several people to me. But we're going to bring in, like, I can see WALL-E being kind of a thing.
Hunger
Games, Elysium,
Running Man.
I don't know so much about the Running Man. That one,
I know
Running Man.
I know what you mean. I mean, I'm more like a fan of the old cartoon movies like Toy Stories or Monsters Inc. or something like that. But I'm not like into the sci-fi scene like Star Trek, Star Wars, this and that, and yada yada yada.
Well, but WALL-E, because it, like I say, it almost ties in because how Idiocracy ends up. I can't say at the beginning because it's the montage or whatever, but how he ends up, they get woken up in the future is because of the garbage avalanches. So I mean, WALL-E's job is to go out there and just keep building, trash heaps, cleaning up the earth so that humans can come back to it. But at the same time, hey, they got to leave to go somewhere so that the planet can get healed So that's why I was saying, you got Wally and Elysium and stuff like that. So the planet's got to heal. The humans got to leave. So, but at the same time, with the way that the society is with their phones, you can't even walk down the street, not bumping into something anymore. So why not have just the hover chairs ride around on the ship and just, have nothing else to do?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with you. I'm already search a movie that I was supposed to talk about. Just give me a bit. I must need to scroll over Netflix.
No problem. But yeah, that's Wally. I've seen parts of that one. That definitely, the whole thing about, people today. You watch YouTube, you see videos of people who are doing nothing but staring at their phone, and they walk into traffic. So the chairs that everybody sits in, so they don't run into traffic, and it guides them where they want to go. And once you're in the chair, and if you're not paying attention, it's taking you where it wants to go, not where you want to go.
Yeah, I mean, definitely we got to start doing something, but that's why I pointed out that would do with political affiliation.
Exactly.
You want to big wheel on your voting register, by all means, let's do it.
Yeah, he's over 35. He can be a president.
I'm just only 22. What can I say?
Well,
what can I say except you're welcome?
You're not a US citizen. I can't help you on that one. You're president over here.
So but I just saw recently a movie called Nerf. That is like a truth or dare game in real life. It also plays with MGK, Machine Gun Kelly. But I gotta be honest with you, this was probably one of my favorite movies that I've ever seen. I see this too often on Netflix.
Nice. I haven't even seen or heard of it.
Well, again, he's over in Europe. It's probably started over there and hasn't come over here yet. Sometimes that happens.
It happens.
Come on, we need some European culture in it.
That's why we get you to come on and help us every so often,
Yeah, definitely. I have no problem with that. I mean, I can also tell you what the most favorite movies are. Like, we have a three-parter from a actor named Elias Mbarek.
Okay.
That's a very famous German one. He made the movie Fuck You Goethe. Just a example for the plot. He was in the jail and he had I would say blood money under a school hall in Germany. So he started to pretending to be a teacher, and he gained more popularity with his class. And then it turns out that he's gonna be a property teacher, like what he's gonna supposed to do, and that's go over by the three parts. So definitely good one to watch. And
let me
then
ask
we
you,
have one.
I was going to say, let me ask you a question here. Since you live in Germany, you're from Germany. American movies, how are they? What kind of movies that come from America are popular over there, and what are not as popular?
I would say the Back to the Future movies, mostly. Okay. Every Back to the Future movies, every Will Smith movie like Men in Black, 1, 2, 3, Hancock, yes. Back to the Future, always a classic one. Then we've got Hotel Transylvania, also a good one, but I only like the first part. Step Up, also one of the movies, and Top Gun. Top Gun is one of the popularities one. Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick has brought over 180 million euros here alone in Germany. That's I found the movie. I found the movie. You recently mentioned Hunger Games. There is a movie on Netflix called Divergence. That is just a little bit familiar with Hunger Games, but it has more to do like the civilization, how they're gonna be part of, like are they gonna be this faction or are they gonna be a non-faction guy? Also a good one.
Yeah, they're along the same kind of lines. They started coming out at about the same time. Don't know why Divergence and end up getting quite as big a following as like the Hunger Games. Maybe because they didn't all have the same title. It was like Divergence, not Insurgents, but it wasn't like the same name, so they couldn't just add to the title or something like that, like the Hunger Games did. And maybe that's why it didn't do quite as well. But yeah, I mean, it's at a point where I guess that society finally realized that they had to do something about population control. That's what kind of the Hunger Games ended up being, to help keep population down a little bit. And same thing with like the Divergent series.
They have no idea why they're here, and they're not here yet, but it looks like they're still going through security.
I have no idea why I'm... Oh, never mind.
Yeah, there they are.
The boss is in the house.
How you doing? How y'all doing?
Hi, Ed.
All right. So, since we've been talking about, kind of society, movies that have discussed dystopia or the negative effects of technology on the world have been around, 70s, 60s, Damnation Alley from the 70s, Soylent Green from the 50s, Mad Max, Clockwork Orange. Those kind of movies have been around for probably as long as they've made movies.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, everybody wants to think about what the future can be and everything like that. And it's nice thinking, like I pointed out, everybody thinks that we're going to get to this Star Trek dystopia, and I don't know. That's why I threw Idiocracy in there to kind of like open people's minds, like, oh, instead of being this dystopia, we got a bunch of trash, and nothing we can do about it.
People watering their plants with a sports drink. Right.
Yeah.
So, Ed, what are some of your favorite movies about either like Star Trek where there's a utopia or the dystopia, the negative side of where the future will be?
Paycheck.
Maybe that one?
Paycheck was a good one. I mean, I'll give you that one. I mean, it didn't so much deal with society itself as much as that the one guy was getting a paycheck from taking technology from one thing and dismantling it and improving it for another company. But I mean, yeah, I can see, money being a big thing. That's why what kind of got this whole conversation going. I mean, does it depend on the paycheck? Do we end up getting to where, people realize, that paying somebody $15 an hour to milk a cow just ended up making milk cost, $10 a gallon,
And speaking of that horror, we've got the horror movie guy.
Oh no!
Yeah, pretty scary face right there.
Ratings just went down.
Speaking of horror movie guy, he asked a question like, "What's the worst movie you have seen?" My vote, Mr. Nanny.
Yes, Mr. Nanny was one of the worst. Definitely. Oh my God, bad plot, bad acting.
I can get through Mr. Nanny. Santa with muscles or Three Ninjas on Mega Mountain.
I haven't even heard of that one. I couldn't get past the first one.
That's also a Hulk Hogan movie.
Okay.
Three Ninjas on Magic Mountain.
We can watch No Holds Barred.
No. See,
No.
had enough.
Please not. Please not.
Hey, Zeus was a nice character to follow, okay?
I like Mr. Brill. I just wish he would have came through and been able to close it
My
know, I
worst movie that I've ever watched was Truth or Dare, the horror movie.
that wasn't that
Fucking.
bad. I thought you would have said
That's
that your worst
okay.
movie you ever seen was Magic Mike or something.
He is pretty young. He is pretty young, so you know.
That's the future of movies right there. Magic Mike. They're going to come out with 15 more of them, okay?
Magic Mike meets Rocky Stallone.
I can just imagine this still being a thing, Channing Tatum, 75 years old.
Yeah, he just stands there and wiggles the walker.
Baby cats, baby cats, baby cats, baby cats.
Hey, Big Will, how do you feel about remakes? Should they be done?
Yes and no. I mean, it's like songs. I mean, some of them are good, some of them are bad. I mean, hell, you want to bring up that? We make some movies and stuff. We can talk about Total Recall too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the first one, was good enough that they ended up deciding they were going to try and remake it, and I'm glad they took a different kind of aspect on it and didn't like.
They forgot to account for the physics of the Earth in that movie, though.
I don't know. Didn't make much of a difference, Kate Beckinsale and
sorry, that beautiful woman could not save that movie.
And Jessica.
The two of them could not
Jessica
save that
Biel
movie.
fighting. It was the best scene ever. Okay.
They couldn't save
that's why I say you can bring stuff like that into it. I mean, I've heard rumors of remaking Running Man.
Oh no! Please don't do that.
At least there's room in Running Man because the movie was a cult classic, it really is not a well done movie. Now, Day Zero.
Oh yeah.
But here you go. They're remaking Hellraiser. They remade the Candyman. Remade Chucky into a TV series. They have not done nothing yet with the Nightmare on Elm Street series, which I'm amazed.
Look, they need to remake. They need to remake the worst movie ever created.
I mean,
Green Lantern.
the remakes are just like with the video games being turned into movies. This is a total waste. I mean, when I've seen like Super Mario is going to be announced in 2023 with Chris Pratt as Mario, I was be like, dude, please don't beat this as a failure. The 1997 Super Mario movie was already totally dog shit, and
I mean, tell them how you feel.
God,
That's the thing about Germans. If you don't want to hear a candy coated answer, don't ask a German. They will give you the honest truth.
Thank you for Justin. I thank you for coming back and reminding me that I did say there will be some cussing in this show.
Yeah. So Ed, you were saying something before. What were you talking about?
Oh, I was saying that they need to remake the worst movie ever created, The Green Lantern.
I want them to do a remake of that one.
Yes.
I think the world wants them to do a remake of that one.
Yes.
I mean,
I wouldn't say it's the worst movie ever, but it needs to be fixed.
we have done a
am
show.
I the only one who was like the one Green Lantern movie?
I would say
Apparently, yes.
they don't try and fix is The Breakfast Club.
Yes, never.
You never put baby in a corner.
But I'll tell you a good movie I saw in the theaters. I saw DC Super Pets. It's a cartoon, and I would actually say it's pretty good. You should actually check that out.
Going to be checking it out. You can't beat Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart.
Yeah, they were great.
That's a great duo. I mean, Rock's not as big as, they made him out to be in wrestling, but he's still a big guy, and Kevin Hart's just a little bitty thing. So, I mean, it's just offsetting each other.
Hey, we traded one German for another.
Yeah, so we're just talking about whatever movies in society, which movies to make, which movies not to make. Offer your opinion anywhere.
What not to make? Well, the one they shouldn't even play around with. It's the classic Goodfellas.
Yeah, you can't remake the Goodfellas. That would be bad.
Well, again, there are some that are just going to be completely left alone. I don't see them remaking Godfather movies. Earmuffs there because you haven't seen them.
Yeah.
But there are several stuff.
Them
That's like the Wizard of Oz. They didn't remake the Wizard of Oz. They've taken some offshoots of it, tried to take it further, which all of them pretty much sucked and everything like that.
Well, and there's 14 books in the Oz series, so they got many stories still to tell.
Yeah, I mean, Gone with the Wind. The Raps of Great. Grapes of Wrath.
I would never, with today's sensitive society, I wouldn't see Gone with the Wind being remade.
Well, there's lots of things that aren't going to be remade.
How about we talk about the one that got canceled here? Catwoman got canceled. How do you feel about that?
Sometimes I feel like you should be canceled. You asked someone a weird question. Really? We're grown adults.
I just asked a question there, Big Will. You're the movie buff.
I mean, how about $90 million going into the Batgirl movie that got canceled?
There you go, Batgirl. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying. I mean, some things just don't need to be touched upon.
Well, and then some of it just has to do with how long did the script sit in purgatory. The Catwoman movie with Halle Berry, it actually took them 13 years to put that thing together, and it shows.
Oh yeah. Same as but with all this cancel culture around, it's just got absolutely ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. It has.
Like with Mary Poppins.
Yeah, Mary Poppins is all of a sudden such a horrible movie. And well, what didn't help was the movie with Tom Hanks and Emma Watson, Saving Mr. Banks. About the movie, the writer of the Mary Poppins movie. She was a crotchety old lady, and everybody's taking her side, even though what she did was flat wrong.
Well, I mean, it's just like I say. I mean, you almost can't watch a classic. You can't watch the original Mary Poppins and then go watch the second Mary Poppins. I kept wanting to say Emily. Yeah. And like try and compare them. I mean, you got to take it separate. I got to be a middleman on this kind of thing.
Precisely, but they say it was like, I can't remember if it was racist or sexist.
The first one would be seen as sexist, most likely.
And to me, I couldn't see anything wrong with it.
No, and that's they apparently have banned the movie Lightyear in a couple of countries or something like that because what do we want to call it? Having to be politically correct sucks sometimes. Yeah. For gay parts in the movie, it was like, okay, well, either it was edited out from what I saw, or what was wrong with that? Okay, it's two women married together. They have some kids, and I mean, it's what society is. I mean, it's not, and accepted.
And well, that's even happened since Neil. Even though Neil lives in Germany, he's originally from the United Kingdom. The Life of Brian, the Monty Python player from England. And that movie was banned in England because of blasphemy laws in the United Kingdom.
Wow.
It took like 50 years before that movie.
The Monty Python group really did push the
the boundaries.
push the boundaries on what they've done.
But in a good way. They pushed them in a good way.
Oh yeah, definitely that in a good way. But it's like this new series on Netflix, Tekken Bloodline.
It's probably based on the fighting game.
Probably.
Yep, it is based on the character Jin
Okay.
and his bloodline.
Okay.
All right.
Well, then there's been other ones. Mortal Kombat was a game turned into a movie.
That they can be really, really good, and they've done that really well. Things I would like to see expanded on, actually. Ones like you said, Mortal Kombat. The film Dead or Alive,
Okay, yeah.
another gamers film, and that they were all done reasonably well. But you can quite easily flog them to death. Them kind of films.
Yeah.
You
well,
just need. You just need to look at the Highlander films.
Yeah. That's
They
his favorite.
brought about 6 of them out.
But they only needed one. That's where the problem is.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
in Hollywood here, if they get a concept, they'll beat it.
2 or 3. Yeah.
Like in the 80s, they had the old and young person switching places movies, and they did 18 Again and Brother Sister and
Big.
and a bunch of other where people get switch swap. And so sometimes Hollywood's its own enemy too.
It is. It's never going to stop. I mean,
And they've done it with the horrors as well.
it's just one person's perspective against another. It's always what society is always going to boil down to.
Right.
It's how these people, these sheeple,
Yeah.
follow this person, because they have their voice is bigger than somebody's personal voice. Well, these people are going to think the same way, but they're going to do something completely different.
Right. But then there's
they
greedy people who,
they-
hey, that idea worked. Maybe I can make money off of it and don't care.
Like there's like the horror movies, mainly Friday the 13th and the Halloweens. They're like double digit franchise.
Way up in there. I mean,
And it's like, no. But by about the 4th, maybe 5th one, it just got repetitive.
Well, since we do have the horror guy out there somewhere, he might be trying to get back in through security. I mean, the editor kicked him out just a minute ago, but Leprechaun movies.
The first one was decent.
They were bad. They were bad.
Bad.
I mean, it was a great perspective, great thought process, and everything like that. I mean, that's why it's like Candyman. After they realized that after the third
I actually like the way they actually done the Candyman, because they actually showed you. If you look at it, they actually done it backwards. They brought in the Candyman as he was after all these years.
I couldn't make it 15 minutes through the first one, so.
Well, the first one was the myth of him.
Figure out when to stop. I mean, Jason X, pretty much. Jason in space, really?
That should have been it.
Well, somebody should have realized, did we really have to go this far to try and keep Jason alive?
Yeah, but then you got the second one where it actually went into how he became the Candyman.
Okay.
Well, that one, okay, I'll give you for some, but for a background kind of thing. But
And then, then the third one
didn't need.
was the actual source of his power. Right at the start of it all. So they actually done that backwards, and it worked really well.
So it sounds like it was in media res, which, by the way, that term means you start in the middle of the movie, and as you get to the end, you've explained the beginning. That's what in media res means.
Yeah.
But either way, it was just like, some people just can't figure out when to stop.
Yeah. But no, Jason
That's
X
Hollywood.
assaulted in one
Hollywood.
They could have solved Jason X in one simple way. Yeah, put him in space in a ship aimed right at the sun. Done. Over with.
Yep.
See what happens when we get other people on here? We got away from what we were talking about. We're talking about futuristic movies, ended up moving into video game movies, then into horror movies.
Jason X is about space. That's futuristic.
Jason X is actually futuristic.
That's what I just said. I gave the same argument. But I know you.
But then talking about futuristic films, I never got why they done Tron Legacy.
It was Disney's attempt to reignite the original birthday kind of thing. I think it was 30 years after, something like that. 40
it came out in 82, so
I think 40 years
Yeah.
after.
Yeah, but they based it on like his son or something
Yes, his son.
going to rescue his father.
Yes. I mean, if you want it, for the most part, it was Dad disappeared a long time ago. Nobody know what happened to him. He got stuck in the game, is what happened to him. The son ended up, accidentally getting sucked into the game. Oh, here's my dad. It's not like Dad got to come out, but he got to be involved with it. It was just. I don't want, like I say, it's not a remake. It was a continuation. I thought they did a great job with it, especially because of today's graphics and everything like that.
Yeah, they done good on it, but it just fell flat. They could have made that a lot more better.
Well, that's what I was saying. They might have just been trying to efficient, trying to see how it was going to do, whether they needed to make another one. I mean, they're putting all sorts of things out here. I thought She-Hulk originally was supposed to have been a movie. Apparently, it's going to be a TV series. Sorry, now we're back.
I think that was going to be a movie.
And the original Hulk was originally a TV series.
Well, I mean,
and ended up being a franchise of films.
But that's why I'm saying, I mean, well, this is a Marvel thing with the She-Hulk, and like I say, maybe that's why it ended up becoming what it was, because I feel like it was, who knows. But anyway, it's like apparently DC's trying, or what was it that DC was trying to do? Oh, we were talking about Batgirl earlier. I mean, that's why with DC doing the story series on CW, which seems to be doing that rather well and everything like that, making a movie may not have been the best thing, but Batman, there wasn't an original Batman movie before the TV series.
Yeah.
The Batman series became the movie. Well, get your feel out there for how things are going to go.
True.
But
I mean, it's like them taking so long on coming out with the Flash, and
and then some things feel
Black Widow.
And some things feel, you need to have that grand thing. Like Superman, they did as a TV show, but I feel Superman, and by proxy, let's move into some of the futuristic things. Can't really be done as, a one-time thing. You got to have, or not as a long series, you got to have a one-time, here it is. You can't just drag the story on, because sometimes the story, like this show, takes wild twists and turns that you don't expect.
Yeah. So like Idiocracy, if they were to try and come out with a second one, just so that we could follow where President not sure ends up taking the world,
Right.
I would almost guarantee you that movie would suck.
It probably would. And just to explain,
And Dumber and Dumber.
seen it since you said you hadn't seen it. Idiocracy. It starts out with a movie about finding the average person. They put him in a military experiment. He's supposed to be asleep for a year, and he wakes up 500 years later. And because the intelligence level of the Earth has gone down so far, somebody with a 90 IQ becomes the smartest man on the planet. Like I said, you
Sounds
have to watch
very,
it.
very Monty Python.
Well, it's
Sounds
Luke
very
Wilson.
Monty
It's Luke
Python.
Wilson. It's not Monty Python, but it's Luke Wilson and Terry Crews, Dak Shepard, Maya Rudolph. You need to check it out. It's hard to find, so you might have to find it. Like Mark Adams said he saw it on YouTube, but
Yeah.
Rick said he couldn't find it in the store.
so
on
it's
DVD,
but
so.
it's a corny movie.
It most probably got cancelled.
Right. Yeah, it's one of those where people become so stupid that they can't function, they can't solve problems anymore. So their idea are things like they can't figure out how to make crops grow because somebody, their company bought the FDA and said water is not good for you. Sports drink Brawndo is. So then they start watering the plants with Brawndo, and the plants won't grow, and they can't figure out why they won't grow. So they put a marketing campaign out there that still doesn't make them grow. So it's just those kind of things. So I know you'd appreciate it. You need to check it out.
The other one that I don't think would work now is the Dumber and Dumber series.
Yeah, I don't see that one being remade.
Well, they did a second one.
Yeah,
They done the second one, or the Bill and Ted's.
There's at least 3 of them.
But I see what he's saying about they couldn't remake it now because people would find it offensive to the people who are not smart genre.
And the same with Bill and Ted.
Yeah, Bill and Ted wouldn't make it today either, I don't think.
Well, they just the next
But
movie.
apparently they're meant to be making a 30-year edition.
Yes. Well, they came out with the third version that they
The
had
name's
to.
escaping me right now. It's on Netflix right now, I think, or Stars, something like that. But yeah, I mean, if they would have done more as the children and Bill and Ted themselves just been a part of it. I mean, the kids were involved,
Right, but it would have worked better, bro.
it's like the new Ghostbusters. Hey, see, we're taking this all over the place.
There you go.
The new
Ghostbusters. Sorry, you can't beat the original on that one.
No, but like I pointed out, I mean, just take into the graphics, and if they were to bring in like,
Oh yeah, but the film itself is
original people
a good film as a standalone film.
Like the Goonies. I keep hearing that they're going to come out with the Goonies, the kids of the the original ones, kind of thing. Still haven't seen it. Haven't heard much more, except for hey, they're going to make a new Goonies and they're going to have the kids. Don't take away.
Then you got.
Were in
Then
the
you got
just,
what was it now?
hey, it was nice seeing you again. You know, now let's let the kids do their thing.
Yeah.
So the Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle.
Now I liked that.
Yeah.
It was an advancement of the story, not a remake.
Yes, it's an advancement, and with the way that they ended the last one. It's completely open to Jumanji actually coming into our world. So I'm kind of excited about seeing this. The only thing I did not like about the second one was basically The Rock trying to do Danny DeVito accent.
Yeah, the first kid didn't really try and do his accent. He just tried to be a nerd.
Yeah, the worst was kind of talking smart and being scared of squirrels. I mean, that was the most that you got out of
Yeah.
getting that one.
Right.
But I mean, in the second one, you know, and then of course Kevin Hart trying to do Danny Glover too. But
I'm getting
I'm
old
sorry,
with this shit.
Danny Glover's not that slow, and he just took it to an extreme. I know it was supposed to. In some instances, it was funny, but for the most part, it was like, did you really just talk that long to stretch out the movie to be longer?
Yeah, it's
I mean, just
it
getting to
just
the
gives
point.
it right.
Yeah.
But the remakes and the continuations of them are good as standalone movies. Like the amount of times they've mentioned about Black Widow getting a standalone movie. That still hasn't materialized yet.
No, the Black Widow movie came out. It's just the fact that they came out with that movie after they killed her off in the Avengers movie set. That kind of took things to a weird part of it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it was. If they would have started it off as how she became an assassin and then be.
Well, that's what it was meant to be.
The Avengers, you know, that would have been a great movie.
That is what it was meant to be.
But this they ended up
her training as an assassin.
Now, if the whole purpose of the movie was to end up introducing Yelena to become in the Avengers movies, if they continue them on, that made sense.
Okay.
But I know that Disney's not going to end up seeing this and, you know, taking my idea into consideration in the slightest little bit. So I can say what I want.
Well, you never know. WWE bug our offices for a long time. They were stealing our ideas. You never know.
Saying that though, do you think they'd ever bring out the other versions of the Avengers? So, there was about 4 or 5 different teams.
How did he end up getting me into my favorite subject?
Because it's his too.
I do believe that it almost depends on where Disney ends up trying to take things to. They already pretty much have it set up where they can take it further and not include pretty much anybody that was in the originals. I mean, they
because they've introduced Black Adam, who, if I remember rightly, was a part of one of the teams of Avengers.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm saying at the end of what we have after Thanos was killed and everything like that. Hey, spoiler there too. Because they've got Falcon and Scarlet Witch and, well, I mean, Spider-Man's still going to be around. He's not an Avenger. But, I mean, they can take things and go so much further. They can bring in the new team. They can include so many other people. I mean, it almost is horrible that they killed off Iron Man, Captain America, and, you know, Black Widow. It's just, you know, they got to get somebody to come in.
Then you got I think it was Iron Man's wife.
Well, yeah, I mean, she had the suit on at one point in time. In fact, I'm playing a game with my grandson right now. Hey, look, I'm old, Grandpa. And they include her in the game. I was like, what? With the Iron Man suit on. Sorry, gotta point that out. And it was just like this.
Then you got like Captain Marvel, who again was another Avenger.
Yes.
In a different team. So they're setting them up
They're just probably getting a little break and stuff like that. And I mean, that you got to kind of be able to forget the original people to be able to continue on. But with the way that
I don't know about forgetting, but that's
what's-
more for the comic geeks
well,
that already know.
comic geeks are always going to be angry no matter what because not one single thing has ever followed what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I mean, because they have the same name doesn't mean that, you know.
Yeah, there's a guy that did some shows. He was the comic book nerd because he was mad that comic books weren't even following the comic books.
Yeah, it was same as because in a loop that I saw, Black Adam actually made a slight appearance indirectly in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Possibly. It's been a while since I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy.
He's the one that's meant to be in the sarcophagus.
He's supposed to be, but it's what I'm saying. They all combine together and every. It's just it's hard to satisfy everybody.
So if you actually go along them lines, that from the comic books and that, they've got such a deep pool to go from. You can pull out, like we spoke before, Scar, his brother, the Red Lanterns.
Yeah.
There's such a deep pool of characters they can pull from, purely because they own the Marvel rights and DC rights. There's so many of them that they can pull from.
That's why I pointed out when we were doing the Marvel and DC challenge. I mean, you got over 3,000 characters, you know, that you can do stuff from. I mean,
and they all entwine with each other.
For Disney right now,
at one point or another,
they might want to explore going back and exploring X-Men and doing some origins other than Wolverine. We need to kind of get the story away from Wolverine.
Yeah, they need to get out off Wolverine.
That role, he was never meant to do that role, but it followed for the most part. It's just there's so many.
I think the most interesting one, if they were going to do an origin, would be Phoenix.
They kind of tried to do that story, but there's so much they could have done. I mean, they hinted at it in X-Men 2
they hinted on it on the X-Men films, but they've never really gone into
she became
the actual origin.
Underwater part was supposed to lead to the Phoenix part of it, but I mean, they didn't continue on with it. They well,
they did in a way, because they did actually explain that it was like an alter ego of Jean Grey.
Yeah,
the Jean Grey is actually the Phoenix.
A lot of room available for that.
Well, they didn't continue on and just go off and do like the Phoenix. They
cut it from there. They just cut it.
All right.
So we know who they are, but she would be a really interesting one to actually do a backstory on.
All right. Well, on that note, it's been our hour.
It's been over an hour. Neil got me started talking about
Yep.
comic books. Sorry, everybody. This is supposed to be about idiocracy and not getting to that point in our future. We need to start doing something about it. Hey, everybody, go read a book. Stop being stupid.
Some parts of America has already got there.
There you go. All right. So you got a couple of week break here. You got a couple things going on.
Too much going on.
Yep.
You start getting back into birthday season here. So.
So we'll be putting it out there what your next movie is. I know you're focused on other things, but you got a plan.
Not quite yet. It seems like, last time we had a great idea for a movie. You actually threw it out there for us. It wasn't a specific movie, but we followed a specific person.
Yes, The Rock.
Yes, we followed that. And we had a great time with that show.
Yeah.
How about one more?
How about one more? Well, we had a lot of fun bashing him at his expense. Now let's have a panel do it. Let's go over Hulk Hogan.
Okay.
And bad
Oh,
movies.
Okay. So
Blue Thunder.
back to wrestling theme.
Yep. All right. So
All right. You guys enjoy yourselves.
Yeah.
See you next time.